NAPE is right around the corner, and oil and gas operators are looking for deals left and right. We talked to one Texas operator on this episode of The Crude Truth.
In 1901, at Spindletop Hill near Beaumont, the future of Texas changed dramatically as, like a fountain of fortune, thousands of barrels of oil burst from the earth towards the sky. Soon, Detroit would be cranking out Model Ts by the millions, and America was on the move, thanks to the black gold being produced in Texas. Now, more than a century later, the vehicles are different, but nothing else has truly changed. Sure, there may be many other alternative energy sources like wind and solar and electric. But let's be honest, America depends on oil and entrepreneurs, and if the USA is truly going to be independent, it has to know the crude truth.
NAPE is a proud sponsor of The Crude Truth. Be sure to register for the NAPE Expo 2024, February 7th through the 9th at the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston, Texas. Hurry and register today. NAPE, where deals happen.
This episode is brought to you by LFS Chemistry, committed to being good stewards of the environment and providing the tools so you can be too. NAPE Expo, where deals happen. Air Compressor Solutions. When everything is on the line, Air Compressor Solutions is the dependable choice to keep commercial business powered up. Sandstone Group. Exec Crew. Elevate your network, elevate your knowledge. Oil and Gas Workers Association. Pecos Country Operating. Fueling our future.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time of day is. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of The Crude Truth. As you know, The Crude Truth has a great sponsor in the NAPE Expo, which is February 7th through the 9th at the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston, Texas. I'm sure you've all heard me say that once or twice over the last few months. Well, today I have another great guest that is a major sponsor of the NAPE Expo and is also going to have probably a record-setting size booth at NAPE. And there's a reason why. My guest today is founder, CEO, president, El Presidente of One World Petroleum, my good friend, Alex Ottewell. Alex, how are you?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
Oh man, well, thank you so much for coming on. And what a small world. The little our backstory. Let listeners and viewers know. You and I actually met in your home state of Florida, just a couple months back at the Family Summit office, and you were there and I was there, and it was like, wait a minute, we're both in the oil and gas industry, so we hit it off.
There you go.
And so you and I were there talking, and I was like, well, are you doing NAPE? And you go, am I doing NAPE? You go, I'm probably going to have the biggest booth at NAPE. And I was like, what? I said, no way. I said, well, I have to have you on the show. And so thank you very much for coming on. How are you doing?
Doing great. Another busy day, another nice start to the week. So we're pretty happy here.
Well, good. Well, hey, for listeners out there, can you kind of tell us a little bit about One World Petroleum and then dive into your background a little bit? And let's talk about that.
Okay. Yeah. So we're an upstream oil and gas operator, picking up PDP assets specifically. We're not into the new drill sector. Everything we buy is existing, producing. Typically, we like mature assets, kind of more stable decline. We're open to the whole of Texas. We're buying in all basins. And we're kind of attacking it in the sense that we're looking for upside in kind of unconventional ways. We do buy strictly conventional wells, but we like to find kind of nuances with different leases that maybe other people aren't really focused on. Maybe it's been a long producing asset that the operator was happy with, but maybe we see some further upside to those deals, and that's what we're diving into.
Okay. Well, Alex, one thing is your journey to the oil and gas industry, and I enjoy it because here at the company I work for, Pecos Country Operating, every now and then we bring on, we're a family office, but every now and then we do bring on some investors. And here lately, we've had some investors that are actually from your sector that you were in previously in a different life. So if you don't mind, kind of share with us your previous life and what it was about the oil and gas industry that got you hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, definitely interesting story. Well, to start, I was actually born in England. It's a fun fact that I don't even think Ray knows, but moved in when I was 9. Parents were very entrepreneurial background, and right out of high school, I started going to tax deed auctions. They're real estate auctions that, people don't pay their taxes, and, it kind of goes almost similar to a foreclosure auction. So what had happened was I kind of stumbled into that. Went ahead and built that further, got into more seller direct marketing, buying real estate from distressed homeowners. Throughout a course of just over 10, 11 years, we bought over 1,100 houses and fixed and flipped them and moved them on. Did a lot of private financing behind that too. So we purchase a property and sell it on a note. But yeah, big fix and flip history. I mean, we were probably consistently doing over 100 deals towards the end. And then I saw oil and gas, and I kind of got excited. Most people can attest to this. Anytime you're in an industry for a long period of time, you always kind of feel like, there's a cap to it. And with fix and flip, it's a very good business. It's scalable. I mean, we were doing 2 properties a week. It's quite a scale. But operationally, it does limit your potential with growth and just how much you can truly yield a year. During that time, though, too, I had the call center. So we were generating our own leads with seller direct marketing, and I launched a call center in the Philippines and grew that to 250 cold callers. So they were reaching out to different people and basically generating leads not only for myself, but also other investors. So it's a pretty neat thing. Now, the reason for the transition, I had attended an event called 8-Figure Cartel. One of my friends, Nick Perry, he runs that event. And I was down there and I was kind of sharing my, business and what we did and our unique strategies. And he brought up oil and gas and sounded really interesting. Kind of heard about it for a bit, spent a little time over there, kind of seeing some fields and stuff. And I just decided that, hey, maybe I'll jump into it. So we went 2 foot in, like always. And I launched my oil company January of last year, so 2023. And we went hard and heavy. I brought in petroleum engineers and legal, definitely some lawyers to help out navigate the title and the fun of the leases. And honestly, it was just a learning venture. First 3 months, pure learning, understanding the industry, understanding the ins and outs of each area of the space. And that's kind of where we started off.
Well, okay. A lot of people that are in the real estate industry don't even touch oil and gas. And I've had a couple, like I said, and that's what we've had. We've had a couple of individuals in the last 18 months kind of liquidate their Airbnbs or VRBOs for whatever reason, and a couple of rental properties, and have dove into oil and gas, and they love it. But there's not a lot. Usually people are like, hey, you know what? I can't touch oil and gas. And I'm like, yes, you can. Come on out. But, that's usually one of the things I've always heard. It's like, we can't touch it. It's not real. So I'm going to stick with brick and mortar. And what I always like, what?
They call it tangible assets. So I always say, touch it, feel it, see it. Yeah.
Right. And every now and then we'll do some royalties where we'll do some 1031 exchanges. And I say, look, man, it's just like real estate and rental properties, except that without the TNT, which is, tenants and toilets. But what was it for you? Because I know you said that you went and visited a friend and you were like, okay, let's dive in. But what was it, the correlation between real estate and oil and gas, that got you excited about it, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of do this analogy a lot because part of the reason why we're heavily capital backed is because I had a really good reputation in my fix and flip career. So I spoke on the stages and instructed people, but also had my own company. And during that time, I got a really good network of people. And a lot of them, just like you said, are hesitant in getting into oil and gas because they didn't understand it. Most people that invest in things, they need to understand it to a decent level in order to want to put capital into it. So I kind of bridged the gap for my community in the sense that I went and deep dived. I left behind my whole fix and flip career. I sold off portions of the business, but really having that deep dive and understanding, I've been able to convey that message back to a lot of my real estate friends that do want to get involved on a capital basis. One of the cool parts about oil and gas, I kind of put it like this: your PDP assets, your proved producing, those are kind of like your rental properties. They come on, they consistently produce, you're making money, but you have repairs. Though you don't have tenants, you do have repairs. You're going back in and changing pumps or, whatever it may be, production tubing. But in essence, it is like a rental property. Whereas I kind of look at new drills a bit more like new construction. You know, you can have some permit issues along the way, kind of headaches and things, and drilling's kind of the same sort of thing. And maybe when you go build a community, especially if you do large scale, say you did a whole subdivision, your first phase of the subdivision may be great, but by phase 3 or 4, you may end up making a little bit less because maybe the area doesn't call for that many homes. I kind of look at drilling in the same regard. You've got multiple drills. Let's say you drill 5 or 6 wells. You're going to have a few of them do really well, and you have a few of them do okay. Maybe you miss one, but it's kind of a similar analogy. You know, new construction versus having a rental portfolio being the PDP. So that's how I look.
No, that's a great analogy. I might have to use that one if that's okay. That's a good one. I like the way, like, look, I look at proven development as rental properties and new drills as new home construction. I mean, and you're spot on, Alex. I mean, you can definitely tell you're an operator that actually knows what's going on out in the field. It's like, you know, because you get some wells that do excellent, you got some wells that are going to do okay, and then nature of the beast, yes, you may or may not miss one. You know, I mean, that is part of the game. I mean, you know, it's nature of the beast. You know, unfortunately, good, bad, or different, we don't hit every single one.
I think a lot of guys that have apprehension to getting into oil and gas, they've typically gone in on a guy's one venture. He's trying to drill one well, and you know, I think that's too much pressure. I think anytime you invest in oil and gas, being diversified is always good. You know, for our instance, when we buy the PDP, we're trying to give fair upside, but also we look at it like this. If an asset's worth just PDP value, if we get anything higher, that's great. But if we still have evaluated correctly at a PDP level, we know where our returns are roughly going to be. And especially with we try and buy bigger portfolios. So we're trying to buy, you know, maybe 40, 50, 60 wells or more in a package. And that way we can kind of do a law of averages play, at least on the PDP side. So,
yeah. Well, you know, let's kind of transition here. You talk about, you know, here we're talking about what you're doing. You are producing and everything here and about the heart of Texas. Is that correct? Is that where most of your stuff is?
Yeah. So what we did was, due to being kind of new to the space myself, even though I have really good staff and people, I hired the right people, right? And we did a couple of test deals because I wanted to figure out what I wanted. Right now we're focused predominantly on shallow oil, so anything under 7,000 or 8,000 feet. We've tested some deep gas, and that just really wasn't my realm. So our initial assets we bought were purely based on the fact that I just wanted to experiment at small, and then open up to larger and larger things as we go along. That's where we've been focused.
Okay, now let's switch gears. You are one of the top sponsors for the NAPE Expo, February 7th through the 9th at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Not only are you one of the top sponsors, you are going to have probably the largest booth area, like the Crude Truth. We've got a Crude Truth Pavilion, so hopefully you're going to stop by. I hope the Crude Truth Pavilion. But ours is only 20 by 20. How big and where is your booth at?
Yeah, so we're 40 by 40, and the only other 40 by 40 I've seen is Oxy. They have a 40 by 40, but we're dead center. So when you walk in the entrance, we're kind of dead center right by there's the main aisle kind of in the middle, and we're dead center. So 40 by 40, it's big, it's loud. You guys will see. I've always been known in my career as being a guy that likes to do things big. And I think that's why oil and gas was entertaining to me in the first place, because it truly adds another, you can grow at different levels. No matter how good of a fix and flipper you are, there's only so big you can make a company. Yeah. But with oil and gas, I mean, you can definitely do some big, extraordinary things. And we wanted to come into NAPE, even though we're 1 year in. I wanted to come into NAPE big in the sense that we're hoping to buy bigger and bigger deals. So we kind of want that to reflect into how we're looking at things. One of the funny parts is, Ray, when we first started off, I decided to dial all the operators. So we called all the operators and said, hey, we want to buy your PDP. And we want this asset, that asset, whatever it may be. And I remember a call specifically. I was on the phone with the operator, and we offered him like $12 million for a portfolio. And he came back to me. He said, well, that sounds like a good offer, but I don't know you. Yeah. And that made it click. And I realized very quickly there, I came from an industry that was all about network to an industry that was in a network, but very closed network. And we want to kind of welcome those people because obviously I'm a newer generation of oil and gas, and we want to work together and build those long-term relationships. I mean, it's a small industry in the sense of how many people are in this community. So we want to be able to be fun, but also be a good source for people to bring deals to. We want to close quickly. We don't want a bunch of headaches. As long as you're not, hiding some ugly stuff underneath the curtains, we're a good option for you. And by being a big booth and being as loud as we're going to be, we want people to identify us as a good source to bring deals to.
Okay.
So.
Well, you talk about identifying source to bring deals to. That is also, first of all, let's talk about this booth one more time. It's going to take you, what, 2 days to construct this thing?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, well, the actual structure itself is all metal. It's 30 foot by 30 foot, and it's 18 feet high. But the best way I can say it reminds me of a Mad Max arena. So that's the best analogy of what the booth looks like. But I haven't actually.
Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome Arena? Is that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna have the only second floor option. So we're gonna do kind of a little photo op up there. I think I got to figure out what NAPE will allow, but we're hoping to have a photographer up there because one of the cool things is the vantage point is very high. So it'd be really cool to get a picture, across the whole of NAPE. So,
okay. Wow,
yeah.
that'll be real cool. That is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got the booth, you've got the funds. Okay.
Yep.
The whole point to the booth is to spend the funds. You're
Correct.
looking for PDP. Like let's say that again. I wanted to invite you on, to get this out there to let people know that, hey, Alex Ottewell is looking to spend money. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
What kind of deals are you looking for to spend money on?
Like I said, shallow oil, anything under 7,500 feet. Right now we have stuff just outside of Houston and just outside of Austin, but basin wise, I would say we're more East Texas than West. The Permian's great, but the problem is the upside kind of offsets how our capital works. So we're okay with paying upside. We're not drilling. So if you have a deal that has a whole bunch of PUDs that you need value on, it's a little bit more difficult for us. But if you have a traditional field that you've had for a while and it produces, and maybe it's not everybody else's buy box, we'll buy probably on a lease level as little as 750 barrels a month. It's probably the smaller level of field, all the way up to probably 5,000 or 7,000 barrels a month. That's probably our buy window. We're not looking to buy just one asset. We want to buy a mixture of assets, and we're going really more towards the independent guy, right? Smaller independent. That's the kind of deal size we're looking at. Now, obviously, price wise, that's going to vary depending on what the production's doing and expenses and things like that. But we definitely want that smaller side. Nothing too crazy. We don't want anything newly drilled. I mean, we're trying to be reasonable, but nothing too newly drilled. We want a mature field. We want it's like 5 years old, something you just want to move on with.
Okay.
So,
man,
yeah.
I bet there's going to be several people out there that are just going to be that'll have
100%.
several deals like that. And again, for anybody out there that's listening, they're going to be in the center of NAPE. So if you've got a deal, that you think it fits that right there, come by and visit with Alex. How many people are you going to have been in your station or your booth this year?
Yeah, I think there'll be between staff and office and other sales staff, probably like 14 people.
Okay.
So,
that's
there'll
awesome.
be a good amount of people. You'll see them. There'll be. I'm big about branding. Me and Ray were talking about this. My whole office is green and black. I mean, that's our logos and colors. You'll definitely see us. We're also going to be, fingers crossed, as long as I get the permit back in time, we're going to be giving away a side-by-side. So at there as a free giveaway. So I had to get approval on that.
Did you have to get the yes, I didn't mean to cut you off, but did you have to get the firefighters and all that?
That is what we're working on right now. So it was a kind of a last minute thing. We had another alternate idea, which didn't actually go through. So we decided to go ahead and do a side-by-side giveaway. And as long as the permit comes back in time, we'll have a side-by-side where we're giving away free sign up, nothing crazy. You just go up, put your name in, and if you win it, cool, you get a free side-by-side. So,
oh my gosh, that is too cool. Yeah. We were going to bring in, we got one of my sponsors of the Crude Truth, shout out Air Compressor Solutions. They have an awesome 1937 Chevrolet pickup. And so we were gonna bust that down there and put it kind of as a photo op spot, no different than what you're doing with the second level. And the amount of people we had to get involved, from the George R. Brown Convention Center to the firefighters. I keep wanting to say railroad commissioner. I don't know why. To the firefighters, getting a permit, and then you got to get like the George R. Brown union people to help bring it in. It's your people, Gil, if he brings that in, get over there and register for it, because he had to jump through hoops. If that thing is there, Alex literally had to jump through 10 hoops, rings of fire, to get that side by side in there. Not to mention
no starting it. No starting it. That's already been really laid out. Do not try and start the vehicle.
So, you know, maybe I'll do a shout out to Drew Guntert and Leanne Callahan, the two people at NAPE that have been there forever. Maybe just hand them the keys and give them the responsibility of saying, you know what, if it starts, it's on you guys. Y'all take the keys and just see me in 2 days.
Another fun thing, we're going to be doing our goal is to meet people. You know, obviously, if you don't have a deal today, that's fine. We still want to meet you, because on a long-term basis, we're in this industry. We're not going anywhere. We want to meet you. So if you come into our booth and we chit chat and we like you and you're cool people, we actually have an after party that we're doing on Thursday. So it starts at 5:30 and ends at 9. The big casino in downtown, we're going to do a 2-hour open bar. So come drink, and we're not doing wells, so you'll enjoy your drinks. It's going to be a real open bar, and we're doing that deliberately. Now, there will be a cap on how many people. I think it's going to be about 200, 250. But the goal is to have you come in, we'll mingle, we'll talk. And that's truly how business is done, right? And we're based in Florida. I mean, that's something Ray talked about. I didn't want to move out of Tampa, Florida. I love Tampa. We frequent Houston and Austin and Midland and all these other places quite often. But at the same point, we're a little further away than most. So we want to interact with you, get to know you now. So then when we do business down the road, you know, it'll be a good relationship to start with.
Well, I tell you what, that Florida area, you know, again, I got to meet you there in Fort Lauderdale last year. Funny to say last year, but last month. And it's hard. I was talking to my father on the phone going, he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Trying to think of every way to talk myself out of trying to relocate to Fort Lauderdale." Goodness, the weather was gorgeous. You said it was 75 degrees over the weekend. I mean, sunshine. You even got to take the car out in our pre-production meeting.
Yeah, 75 on Saturday. Had the top down, cruising around, water right next to us. It is tough to leave. I mean, I spent a good deal amount of time in Texas, don't get me wrong. But we try and come over there mainly for acquisition. So if I'm going to fly in, take a look at a deal, things like that, you know, we'll break bread with whoever we're doing business with. But yeah, we're a little further away from the community. So we want to get to know everybody at NAPE.
Well, Alex, you know, I am just so excited that you're going to be in town, and also it's just very exciting that I've been able to get to meet you. Are you just totally random? Are you planning on going to that next family summit thing in March?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to a couple of those. So that's a really good event. Good mix of people. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're not here to promote that right now. We're here to promote NAPE and One World Petroleum. So, you know, again, just to reiterate, Alex, what are you looking for at NAPE, and where can people find you now and at NAPE?
Yeah, so oneworldpetroleum.com. There are numbers on there, and you can submit an entry if you have an asset specifically. We have an upload form, so you can literally just type in your information. It comes right through to us. But yeah, we'll be dead center in NAPE when you walk through the entrance, straight back, right where that aisle is. There's kind of that middle aisle that runs through. We're right there. You won't miss us. We're 2-story, all metal, big signs. We'll be loud. And then what we're buying, you know, PDP, shallow oil, 7,000 or 8,000 feet. You know, we do. Every deal's different, right? So I won't say that we're, you know, if you got a couple of 10,000-foot wells in there, we'll definitely take a look at it. We're just looking for more shallow stuff. If you have a real shallow field, we're super excited. But like I said, probably around the 750 barrel a month. It's probably where our minimums are lying. May go a little lower. Maybe you have a combination of a few different leases that are making up that. We may take a look. But But yeah, up to 5,000-6,000 barrels. Nothing crazy, nothing big, but we're fast, we're quick, we have everything in place, and we can close properly. And we're not relying on bank financing, so it's another cool kicker.
Oh man. Well, Alex, again, I just cannot thank you enough for stopping by and doing this interview for the Crude Truth. Again, please be sure to visit Alex at his booth at the NAPE Expo one more time, February 7th through the 9th. And we'll be sure to, have your contact info in the show notes. Until next time, thank you to all our listeners. If you have any questions for me or Alex, don't hesitate to reach out and we'll get those questions answered. And we'll see you again on another episode of The Crude Truth.
Again, thank you to our sponsors, LFS Chemistry, NAPE Expo, Air Compressor Solutions, Exec Crew, Oil and Gas Workers Association, Pecos Country Operating.
The easiest way to start your own podcast and TV show? Real News Communications Network. Stand out from your competition. Produce streams of high-quality social media content. Become a thought leader in your industry. With RNCN, you get to be the host. We handle everything else. Tour one of our 3 locations in Dallas, Fort Worth, and the Colony. Call 972-402-6333 or visit launchashow.com to find out more.